Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is on July 18th, 2023. It's on Tuesday and sunny outside. How are you spending Tuesday? How do you like Tuesday? Do you have a day off today? Do you have a work or school today? It depends on your schedule. It hinges on your schedule. It's all up to your schedule. Do you like to wander around tourist spots? Do you like to wander around tourist spots? Wandering is one of the enjoyments that I am interested in. Wandering around the tourist spot is one of my favorites. Wandering around the tourist spots on foot makes me find new findings, which I cannot find while driving. I prefer to wander around where I haven't been to than to wander the places I know. I prefer to wander around the places I haven't been to than to around the places I know. I remember wandering around my apartment with my friend after coming back from the nomikai when we were a university student. I remember wandering around my apartment with my friend when we were a university student and talking about everything. Do you like to wander along the beach? 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 Do you like to wander along the coastline? If you walk, stroll, wander along the beach, you will arrive at the lodge, which is your destination. While I was wandering the beach, I came across an old friend of mine. While I was wandering across the beach, I ran into an old friend of mine. I came across an old friend of mine. I want to wander the Japanese garden, which is very beautiful. You can see the changing view as you walk. Do you like wandering Japanese garden? Do you like wandering Japanese garden? Wander. There are times when I wander the cities without any purposes, just wasting time, which I regret. There are some times when I wander the cities or towns without any purposes, just wasting times. There are some times when I just wander around the cities without doing anything, which I really regret. Wonder itself will be exercise. Wonder itself will be an exercise. Is wonder, do you think, itself an exercise? Is wonder, do you think, included in the exercise? Is wonder, do you think included in the exercise? Wonder. Is wonder included in one of the rests? Wonder might be a good strategy or a good way to have to calm down, to get relaxed after, or to take a break. Wonder might be a good method to take a break from work or study. Wonder. Wanderer. Are you interested in the life of wanderer? Maybe staying in a guest house and working with the internet. Are you interested in the life of wanderers? Are you interested in the life of wanderers? Are you interested in the life of wanderers? Not having a place where they stay for a long time, but move from guest houses to guest houses, or hotels from hotels to hotels, or net cafes to net cafes, or somewhere they can stay in. Wanderer. Wanderer. Do you have the interest in the life of wanderers? Do you have the interest in the life of wanderers? Do you have the interest in the life of wanderers? Do you have the interest in the life of wanderers? Wanderer, 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 wanderer. 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 Are you having a wandering life? Are you having a wandering life? Wanderer. The journalist had an opportunity to have an interview with a wanderer who is gaining popularity recently. The journalist had the opportunity to take an interview with a wanderer who is gaining popularity through the internet. His way of life is gaining popularity, and more influenced people are imitating his way of life. Wanderer. Many wanderers were observed during the around the tourist spots. There are a few wanderers around the tourist spots in the very early morning. So if you take a picture, if we want to take pictures with other people, visiting there in the early morning is key. It's my recommendation. Wanderer. Wanderer. The lifestyle of the wanderer. The lifestyle of wanderer. Moving from guest house to guest house, or hotel to hotel, or friend's house to friend's house, or staying in a camping car. Wanderer. There were numerous tourists wandering around the spot. It was so many. There were many tourists wandering around the tourist spot. There were many tourists wandering around the tourist spot. Wandering. Wandering. Wandering life. Wandering. Wandering. Wandering life. Wandering exercise. Wandering exercise. Is wandering included in the exercise? Is wandering around my apartment included in the exercise? Of course. Is wandering around the amusement park included in the exercise? Is wandering around the amusement park included in the exercise? Wandering. Wandering is one of the enjoyments of sightseeing. Wandering is one of the enjoyments of sightseeing. Wandering. Wandering is one of the enjoyments of sightseeing. Wandering is one of the enjoyments of sightseeing. We can find more things, shops, miscellaneous shops, flowers, vegetables, and other things while walking, which we cannot find while in buses, cars, and other vehicles. Wandering is one of the enjoyments of sightseeing. Wandering. Wandering is my favorite to do in sightseeing. Wandering around tourist spots is my favorite thing to do. Wandering is my favorite things to do in sightseeing. Keeping away from coastline when the typhoon is approaching is, of course, to save our life, to keep safe. The board reads, keep away from the coastline when it is inclement weather. The board reads, keep out. The board reads, keep out. The board reads, keep out. The board is written, keep out. It is written, keep out on the board. It is written, keep out on the board. Keep out. It is written, keep out on the board. The board reads, keep out. 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 Keep out. Keep out. Keep out. Keep out. Don't fail to see, identify, spot the board written keep out, otherwise you will be fined. Some greedy, crude, rude, disrespectful tourists enter the area which is not allowed to enter and take pictures, although there is a board written keep out. 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 The board reads 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 keep out. I bet those who are successful in the businesses or in life had many numerous experiences they are ashamed of. I bet those who are successful in the life had many countless experiences they are ashamed of. I bet those who are successful in business have had countless experiences they are ashamed of. I am still ashamed of me entering the hall with the helmet on. It was my mistake. I wanted to show cool behavior in front of guards, but on the reverse, I was ashamed. I am still ashamed of me entering the hall with the helmet on. The assessment process is said to be very rigid, strict. My father is super rigid, enough to ignore everything. My father is super rigid, obstinate, stubborn, enough to disregard everything. Rigid, 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 rigid. Rigid will prevent us from making a progress in everything, because if we keep doing in the wrong way, any progress will be made. So if the person is super rigid enough to never change the way they are doing it, they will never make a progress. So in that meaning, the rigid will be one of the factors hindering us from making a progress, hampering us from making a progress. Rigid, 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 rigidity, rigid, 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 rigid. You look rigid. Some people only look rigid in front of job interviewers. Rigid, 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 rigid. Rigid, rigid. I was more rigid in the past, enough never to change my way of thinking, even if I was doing in the wrong way. But as I read more informative books, the more I tried to change the way if I was doing in the wrong way. If there are no progresses in the things I am doing, I try to change something in me. I try to change some things in the process or in the way. Otherwise, there will no change in the progress. The change might work reversely, and my level might go down. But I can notice the way was wrong, and I can go back to the normal, the different one. I can try the different method or way, and by doing trial and error, I can find the true way, which contribute to the progress in the thing I am doing. Rigid, 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 obstinate, 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 stubborn, stubborn, obstinate, 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 rigid, 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 rigid. I hope I will be allocated to a department with flexible and kind bosses, not rigid. I hope I will be allocated to a department where no employees are rigid. Rigid, 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 The assessment process of the examination is rumored to be very rigid, strict, rigid, rigid. The teacher looks so rigid today. It seems there was something wrong or bad behind him today or yesterday. It appears there is something wrong in him. There must be something wrong. There must have been something wrong in him yesterday or today. Rigid, rigid, obstinate, stubborn, rigid, rigid. You should change your rigid personality, otherwise no progress will be made. If you be flexible and try to accept the change, you can make more progresses. If the thing doesn't go well, you should change the way you are doing it, and then maybe you can find the solution and make a progress. The rigidity of the educational system of the English towards grammar and the memorization of vocabularies is controversial, often raised up as a problem. Rigidity of my determination. Me studying English shows the rigidity of my determination, which was made when I was 12. I determined. I decided to study English forever, little by little, gradually, at the age of 12, and I still do that. So this shows how rigid I am focusing on my promise, passion, enthusiasm, and so on. Rigidity of my determination. Rigidity of my determination. Rigidity of my determination. Rigidity of my determination. Rigidity rigidity. Rigidity of my determination. Rigidity of the process we are doing will deter our progress. The endless rigidity of the way we are doing it will deter, hinder, hamper our progress. Rigidity of the object. Rigidity of the object. Rigidity of my determination. Rigidity of my determination. Rigidity of the object enough to withstand the earthquake. Rigidity of the basement enough to be able to withstand the shake. Rigidity rigidity. As many of us don't like to make a change, so we tend to fall into rigidity of everything, which will hindering our progress, innovation, and so on. And once we fixed the way we are used to in, it is tiring to change the way. So the once established rigidity of the way will hinder our progress, hamper our progress, prevent our progress. Once established way will difficult to be changed. Once established way will be difficult to be made to be changed. Once established way will be difficult to be made to be will be made to change. Rigidity. Rigidity of the way. We tend to fall into a certain rigidity of a certain way. We tend to fall into the rigidity of a certain way and never try to change. Rigidity. 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 Rigidity of the educational system of the English towards grammar and reading. Rigidity of the educational system of the English towards grammar and reading. Rigidity. 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 Rigidity of what we eat towards fast food will be troublesome. The rigidity of what we eat every day, the rigidity of where to eat for every lunch, the rigidity, we tend to fall into rigidity. We tend to fall into a certain kind of rigidity. We tend to enter a certain kind of rigidity. It might be our eating style, where to stay, where to have lunch, what to eat for lunch, what to drink, where to have a lunch, for every lunch, and so on. We are inclined to enter a certain kind of rigidity. We are apt to enter rigidity of something. It might be eating style, what we eat, where to have lunch every noon, and so on. Rigidity. Rigidity of our way of thinking will be hindering our progress, hampering our progress, preventing our progress. Rigidity of our way of thinking without making a change will be hindering our progress. Rigidity of our way of thinking without making a change or challenging will be hindering our progress. Rigidity. Rigidity. Rigidity of my determination, rigidity of diamond, rigidity of the gold, rigidity of the cement. Rigidity of okonomiyaki, Japanese pancake, Japanese style pancake. Before you make sure that the side of the okonomiyaki is firm, solid enough to turn it over. Because if the butter is sweet too much, it will be difficult to turn it over. So please make sure that one side of the okonomiyaki is hot enough to turn it over. But don't heat it too much. Rigidity. Please make sure of the rigidity of the one side of the okonomiyaki before turning it over, because if the batter is too soft, which will be difficult to turn it over, please make sure of the rigidity of the one side of the okonomiyaki before turning it over, because if the batter is too soft, it will be difficult to turn it over. So, rigidity of English education towards only grammar and memorization of difficult vocabularies. Rigidity. Please make sure of the rigidity of the concrete by drawing them enough duration. Rigidity. Rigidity of due to the rigidity of what he has decided. It is no use persuading him to make it to change his mind. Because of the rigidity of his determination, it is no use persuading him to make him change his mind. Since on account of his rigidity of his determination, it is no good persuading him to make a change. Rigidity. Some people keep doing in the wrong way rigidly, although they are advised to make a change because they are doing in the wrong way. They believe it a correct way. Many people or some people keep doing in the wrong way, although it is wrong, rigidly. And some people continue doing in the wrong way, rigidly. They never listen to advices and so on, rigidly. Arrogantly, obstinately, rigidly. Rigidly. The performances on the stage were evaluated, assessed, reputed rigidly, rigorously, rigidly, strictly. And some people will stick with old common senses rigidly, even with new technologies developed. And some people will stick to old way of thinking rigidly. And some people will stick to old way of thinking rigidly. 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 And some people follow his wrong way of thinking rigidly. Some people follow wrong ways rigidly. Some people follow wrong ways rigidly. Some people follow wrong ways rigidly. Rigidly. Smoking in the cabin is rigidly prohibited. Smoking, using fire, and drinking in the trains are strictly, rigidly prohibited, forbidden, rigidly, 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 rigidly. I go my own way rigidly. I go my own way obstinately, stubbornly, rigidly, 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 rigidly. Some people follow their wrong ways rigidly. Some people follow their wrong ways and rigidly and never listen to advices. Some people follow their wrong ways rigidly and never listen to the advices. Biased eating habit may be one of the causes my skin rashes, I think. Biased eating habit might be one of the causes of my disease. Biased language study towards grammar and reading is a problem. Biased educational style of the English towards vocabulary, memorization of vocabulary and grammar is a problem. Less output opportunities to practice. Biased. Please eradicate a biased view. A biased view. Everyone might have a biased view to a certain extent, because common senses differ according to where we live, where we belong to, and so on. A biased view, prejudice, a biased view, a biased lifestyle, a biased eating style, a biased eating habit towards meat only. A biased eating habit towards meat only will affect our body. The biased eating style, biased eating habit towards only meat will affect our body. Biased, a biased view, a biased view. Bias towards grammar and memorization of difficult vocabularies is a problem. Bias, prejudice, prejudice, bias against fast food. Some people might have the bias against fast food as not healthy. Bias, bias, bias against fast food. 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 Everybody might have bias to a certain extent, prejudice. No people might be without prejudices. No people might be without prejudice, bias. No people might be without bias. No people might be without bias. Bias. Bias against fast food. Bias against chemicals. Bias against steroids. Bias against steroid. Bias against topical steroid. Bias against particular food. Bias against a certain food. Bias against particular foods. Bias against certain foods. The English education is biased towards grammar, the memorization of grammar and vocabularies, and less opportunity to practice speaking. Once we establish something in habit, we tend to do the same things. We tend to have the same menu from the restaurant. We tend to meet with the regular friends, co-workers at the same time, same place, and difficult to make a change. We tend to be biased towards one direction, and we find it comfortable. It will make it difficult to go away from the comfortable zone. We tend to be biased towards comfortable zones and difficult to go away from it to grow, because it is too comfortable to go away, to go out of the comfortable zone. Once we enter the comfortable zone, it is too difficult to go out of it because it is too comfortable, which is hampering, preventing our progress. I tend to bias my eating habit towards mostly meat and less vegetables, which is not good, I know. But I have to change. I have to fix my eating habit. I am apt to bias my eating habit to mostly meat and less vegetables, which is not good, so I have to fix. The house is biased towards left at the angle of 1 degree. That's why it is a little cheap. I tend to bias my shopping to Saturday. I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturday or Sunday. I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturday or Sunday. I tend to bias my shopping day to Sunday or Saturday. I am apt to bias my shopping day to Sundays or Saturdays. I am apt to bias my eating habit to mostly meat or something menu with meat. I am apt to bias my eating habit mostly to meat and less vegetables, which is not good for my health, so I have to fix it. I guess many students or workers are apt to bias their eating place to one particular place. I guess some students and workers bias their eating places to one, the regular one, and never change. I suppose, presume that many students or workers bias their eating places to one particular restaurant. I guess many students and workers bias their eating places to one regular one they usually go every day. I suppose that many students or workers bias their eating places or menus to the one they always go or order. I presume that many students or workers bias their eating places to the regular one they every day go to. I predict that many workers or students bias their eating places to one spot and never change it. I am inclined to bias my shopping day on Saturdays and Sundays. I am apt to bias my shopping day to Sundays and Saturdays. And I am apt to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. I am inclined to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. I am inclined to bias my shopping date on Saturdays and Saturdays. I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. And I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. My eating habit might be biased towards mostly meat and less vegetables. My eating habit might be a little bit biased towards 80% meat and 20% vegetables. I used to bias most of the assignments for the summer holidays to the last days of the summer holidays. I would often procrastinate in working on the homeworks of summer vacation, and I often biased most of them to the last days of the summer holidays. I used to bias working on my assignments for summer vacation to the last days of it. Some lazy people were bias working on the duties to the last days from the deadline, I think. The education system is biased to one side. The English education is biased towards grammar and memorization of words, which is not good. The English education in my generation was biased towards grammar and memorization of words, and few practice of speaking. I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. I am apt to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. I tend to bias my shopping day to Saturdays and Sundays. I tend to bias my shopping date. Bias. I tend to bias my shopping day to either Saturdays or Sundays. I tend to bias my shopping day to either Saturdays or Sundays. I tend to bias my shopping day to either Saturdays or Sundays. I tend to bias my shopping day to either Saturdays or Sundays. I tend to bias my listening list of music to rock. I tend to bias my music to listen to rock. I have to listen to more genre of music to study, to learn. I am apt to bias the genre of music I listen to rock. I tend to bias my I tend to bias the songs I listen to rock. I tend to bias the genre of songs I listen to rock. I am inclined to bias the genre of music I listen to rock. The songs I listen to are usually biased towards rock. I am apt to bias the genre of music to rock. I tend to bias the genre of music I listen to rock. I'd like to know your outlook on the future. You should get rid of the pessimistic outlook on the future. You should let go of pessimistic negative outlook on the future. Future is very shining, splendid, marvelous, fabulous. You should let go of your negative outlook on the future. I'd like to know your outlook on the new product, which is preferred, the previous or the current model. I'd like to know your outlook on the future of Japan. Outlook on the future. Outlook on the stock prices. Can I know your outlook on the education system? Can I know your outlook on English education? As far as I know, the bias towards grammar and the memorization of words is not good. Please take the outlook on the education system into account. Please take the outlook on the education system from the experts into account. Please take into account the outlook on the education from the experts. There are many things to be revised. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.